Hey yo, to all you listeners out there, I hope you're having a wonderful day. This is your neighborhood sensei Fouché, and I always begin my shows by first strongly suggesting, before emphatically imploring, for all of you beautiful, wonderful, self loving, worthy individuals to stay woke. But in the process, never get all stressed out. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you take all necessary meditative practices and procedures, including environmental change when and if necessary, to relax. And always, always be prepared to take those notes. Today is August 14th, 2026. And here in these states of America, it is 1311. And that is 1:11 p.m. for those who don't understand the 24-hour format. Stress is something that all of us deal with. Some are able to have better control or awareness of it, and most of us don't. I was trying to speak to my cousin earlier this week, and I did speak to her, but what I was trying to have her understand is how mentally, your mental projection can cause a more severe physical reaction. And she has in-house issues going on emotionally and psychologically, within her immediate family. And this has been going on for more than a few years at this point. I almost want to say 6, if I was to be most exact. And I'm not going to go too much into, the personal specifics of who and what, and, just have all of those strings completely exposed. But the thing that I will state is that in every single case within this home, there is some mental incapability that was created to where they are extremely dependent and highly anxious. And in all these individuals, there is some form of physical reaction that occurs that is extremely disagreeable, may I state. But there is some physical reaction that consistently occurs because of a psychological and an emotional instability that is rooted and has grown to a certain height of noticeability, of being most notable. And it's to a point to where there is blame and resentment that is emotionally being expressed from the other side. And there is complete frustration in all directions that is causing, or that has already caused, a great disharmony. And I tried to give fair warning a while back about my personal opinion, which seems to be most related towards, in connection, when I was trying to explain initially that it is the emotional psychology that is causing this physical reaction. And I knew better. You know what I'm saying? And I was debated and argued about it, and you always hope for it to be maybe something physical, because you feel like, or maybe she felt like that was something that wasn't able to be controlled, so it's easy to have no accountability and just excuse it, as opposed to if it's actually a psychological and an emotional happening or reasoning, then that means that there is a level of control that the individual would have had, and because of their neglect, it heightened into a greater disagreeable situation to coexist in. A long time ago, I know I stated in the last episode, my man told me in Atlanta, mind tricks the body, body knows that the mind is crazy. The mind knows that the body's crazy, so the body tricks the mind. And we're not going to go into over-defining the subconscious, the conscious con, and the conscious state of being. But, all that said, the reason why I mentioned that to enter our conversation or our reading, and before I even go into introducing the chapter, let me also state that for the last couple of episodes, I also noted that one of my cats wound up giving themselves a urinary tract infection due to self-induced stress that they caused on themselves because we were including another animal member, another cat specifically, into the home. And then all of a sudden it became some territorial and personal issue for my oldest cat, Mr. Winter, to go through these feelings of stress and then wind up giving himself this blood infection within his urinary tract. But anyway, let's get into our reading because I don't want to spend too much time babbling. Chapter 6, break the second chain. A stressed mind is a stressed body. And that's why I introed our conversation with those examples. Even this past week, because I meant to record this episode about a week ago. And I overwhelmed and overburdened myself with all different aspects of work. And my daughter was out of town for 4 days in another state. And here I am still overwhelming myself instead of relaxing more. I am constant and consistent in the involvement of my hobbies and constructive habits. But, I even need to take a break from those things. So then what wound up happening to me personally is for the last 4 days, I was pretty much laid up in bed every single afternoon and most of the evening in recuperation because I overwhelmed myself, not only in that period. I'm not just going to state that period as being the reasoning, but I am consistently busy and alert for most of my days. When I'm out earning my income and I'm dealing with my public interactions, I seriously but jokingly state, like, my biggest issue is trying to relax. Like, when people say I'm bored, I'm like, man, I will never ever do that again. You know what I'm saying? Because I find it more difficult to be bored than it is to be busy. And really think about that. But anyway, let's go into our chapters of reading and conversation. When you overthink, you literally overthink not just your mind into exhaustion, but your body into enervation. And before I go forward, let me remind all of us that the book that we are covering from is Control Your Mind and Master Your Feelings by Eric Robertson. So again, when you overthink, you literally overthink not just your mind into exhaustion, but your body into enervation. And let's look up enervation right quick. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want us to be lost in the sauce about what words mean. All right. Enervation. Enervation, a feeling of being drained of energy or vitality. Fatigue. This much stress on the body can leave you with serious health defects. Your risk of mental health problems and feeling older than you are greatly increases. And based off of that introduction, myself, I felt like my body was about to go into shock and shut down. You know, like I felt the tension in the different nerves in the lower part of my body, because I already have a deteriorating disc in my lower back, in my lumbar area. And when I go through this inflammation, then it presses against the nerves in my spine and then reacts to the different parts of my body, and I start feeling this numbing and almost stinging, this slightly consistent stinging pain. And anyone that has that condition knows that how serious I am about this feeling. You know exactly what I'm going through because you go through it as well. But the one thing that they stated in my physical therapy is not only doing the extension exercises to try to strengthen that area best as can be, despite, you know, the deficiency in that area, but also to find moments of rest in between and really focus on not doing too much all the time, or really focus on not trying to do too much all the time, knowing when to take breaks. If you don't already, you will feel as though no matter what you do, you are constantly sore and achy. Only a few types of stress cause this, and overthinking is one of them. You may go from having slight headaches to experiencing chronic headaches. If you don't already have muscle tension, it will be as if your muscles always feel stiff, which happens to me as well. Even worse than that, your chest and heart may even feel tight, which also happened. Unfortunately, you can actually develop heart problems in the future due to your high levels of overwhelming stress. And myself, I knew this. That's why I said I am going to do the minimal for the next 3 to 5 days or however long it takes in order for my body to not feel this extreme state of shock anymore. The good news is that you can turn this all around starting right now. Deep breathing, learned through meditation, taking mindful nature walks, jogging or running, and eating a healthy diet that suits your needs are all examples of what you can do to decrease the stress that overthinking causes. If you don't learn to reduce your stress, the following list is what you will have to look forward to. Are you ready? Stress causes, oh man, I just mentioned this, inflammation in the body, leading to heart disease, diabetes, multiple sclerosis. The digestive tract, which includes problems like irritable bowel syndrome, inflammatory bowel disease, acid reflux, immune system crashes, which can cause, are you ready again? Increased chances of illness, always having or developing the flu or cold. I know I was stating that I felt like I had like the flu. Like I had these chills and it's summertime. Like I just got out the shower. I think it was yesterday morning and I'm still sweating. And it's early in the morning. It's still cool. Like I'm darn near like in a full sweat. Like I just took a jog around the block 3 times. Linked to mental disorders such as depression, mood disorders, which includes anxiety, bipolar, borderline personality. While overthinking does not cause death, nor is it linked to specific diseases, it is closely connected to serious illnesses. This is only because most people will try to combat their overthinking and excessive and unwanted thoughts with drinking, which I used to do, quit that, smoking, nicotine cigarettes, did plenty of that before, no more, and destructive eating habits. One of the my cousin's children is going through a dietary issue, and there is a destructive eating habit that has been long practiced and now created a serious problem with her physically. If you inhabit this type of lifestyle as a way to cope, then the above symptoms greatly increase your chances of developing them. And I tell anybody, the only reason I cover and speak about this stuff is because I closely relate to all of these things that I cover with you. I'm not reading or covering things that I don't understand or, I question or am clueless, like, I have so many stories that I could improv off of this information. Inside the limbic system, there was a region of the brain called the hypothalamus, which was responsible for activating hormones to help your body fight or flight. The hypothalamus also sends feel-good hormones in your body, which you don't get unless you exercise and eat healthy. When you run, jog, learn a sport, or do anything that keeps you active, the hypothalamus feeds your body endorphins, which are the feel-good hormones we talk about. Endorphins. ENDORPHINS. Don't worry. You don't have to be an athlete or a gymaholic to gain the benefits of being active. So how does exercise relieve stress and help you to stop overthinking automatically? All right. One thing that it will do, it increases your endorphin surges. Endorphin rushes will help you feel good about yourself and increase the pep in your step every day that you follow the routine. You don't have to do a full-on run or hike the highest mountain or even spend hours in the gym. It only takes about 10 minutes into your exercise to get your blood flowing and about 10 to 20 minutes after that for a full-on endorphin surge. So in reality, just 30 minutes a day of exercise and you are good to go. Just recently, I've gotten back on my exercise bike. And I bought this exercise bike maybe 7 years ago and haven't used it really at all because of the different places and living conditions or the living setup that was arranged and how it was pretty inconvenient and didn't have a place for. But since I've been in the new location that I'm at, that is something that I told myself I was going to reintroduce myself into doing and create a system of schedule into doing that more consistently. And that's what I'm working on now. Number 2, it's a meditation technique. Meditation keeps you calm and at ease, and so when you get enough exercise, enough being 30 minutes at a time, you will find that your concentration is not on your mind or daily stress. It is on the task at hand, like running, swimming laps, or playing tennis, that afterwards you feel refreshed because you have flushed out the negative energy that is built up. This means more time for your family and friends and better performance at work. And I'm going to relate that for me to when my knees and my back were healthy. You know, basketball, that was my thing. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't like doing jogging or saw myself jogging around the track, for whatever amount of miles. Like, I wasn't trying to do that. Like, I was thinking of being tired, but basketball, is an activity that has a high level of cardiovascular activity. And I'm thinking about competition, not being overly tired. And if I was feeling tired, I would challenge myself because of the aspect of competition to continue on. And then my stamina became better the more that I did that and the more that I played and practiced. It is a mood booster. This is our third reference. This goes without saying that endorphins instantly change your mood. But I am not just talking about a quick fix. In fact, exercise has you staying happy and relaxed all the time. Those tense muscles won't be from stress, rather from your exercise. The only way to overcome that is to take nice long showers and exercise more with a day or two break. It don't matter anything that you do and put a lot of attention and focus into, like you need decompression moments. However, the point is you will find that you have more confidence because you feel in shape, and your depression and anxiety will feel as though they are distant relatives that don't knock often. With these two main problems gone or almost gone, how can you worry? Exercise or involving yourself in some activity, a constructive activity that consumes your energy in that constructive direction, and then it should minimize your focus and thoughts into the things that you are stressed about or that create stress. The reason most people don't exercise is because they want the benefits without actually doing the work it takes to get them there. That's why I don't like these terms to be used as a crutch when it comes to these social disorders or whatever, because I'm like, if you don't put in the work into building up your confidence and your comfortability into using communication, then you are always going to be very weak and insecure into dealing with life. Another reason may be that exercise is too hard, or it hurts, or they can't because of their weight. The thing about exercise is that you are not going to just one day wake up and be able to run a marathon. Again, I go into my basketball reference because, I would play from like 12 in the afternoon to 6 in the evening. And at first, I would get tired after maybe 3 games. Then it got to a point to where I was able to run 8 games. You know what I'm saying? I would start to feel fatigued by maybe the middle end of game 8, but I could do game 9, 10, and maybe 11 and, still be at a high level. Not the highest level, but, I started to increase my stamina and I became more comfortable into the practice of using the exercise, of using that particular exercise. You have to slowly and gradually build into the routine, which roughly takes 2 weeks. If running makes your legs hurt, start smaller, like doing bike riding or stair stepping. If working out makes you dizzy, lower the weight and take a seat. You have to start small before you can build up. Don't look at exercise like it's a chore. Look at it like it's an opportunity. Eventually, you will find an exercise that you love, then add it to your calendar and to-do lists. Finally, stick with it. Whether you jog in the morning before you shower and work routine, or you get a stretch in at lunch for 20 minutes, or you play an evening sport like tennis with your friends after dinner, make it a habit that you exercise. The more you enjoy the exercise, the better off you will be at sticking to it. All right. If you are stressed, you may do one of 2 things when it comes to your diet and nutrition. Either you will starve yourself and only eat when absolutely necessary, or you will binge and eat everything in sight, but only the bad things. Both of these ways of eating are very detrimental to your mental and physical health. It is most certain that worry and anxiety are closely connected to what you feed yourself. Foods high in sugar, high carbohydrate content, and with lots of sodium have your mood and energy fluctuating so much that it is no wonder you can't think. A healthy diet consists of getting enough vegetables, fruit, and protein, and also requires that you limit your processed food intake. Processed foods have added ingredients. I've been saying this for a long time because I worked in excuse me, the industrial culinary industry for most of my cooking career. Processed foods have added ingredients that are hard for the body to digest. Important vitamins and minerals are removed, and salt and sugar content is highly increased. Everyone around me knows I speak about this. The last cooking job that I had was at an assisted living facility. At an assisted living facility. And the title wasn't cook, it was a dietary. That was their way of titling the career of cook within the medical field is dietary. You are a dietary assistant. And I was a dietary assistant. And I took that very seriously because I was dealing with folks that weren't able to help themselves and were more dependent on me by necessity. And it was important. So I took that job seriously, and the lessons that I learned and absorbed, I took seriously as well. Vegetables and fruit are packed with natural antioxidants, vitamins and minerals that your body needs to survive and be healthy. Whole grain foods include things like crackers, brown and wild rice, quinoa seeds, plain oatmeal, and hulled barley. Grain has the fiber content you need to stay regular and provide you with B vitamins that are crucial to sustaining energy and serotonin in your brain. Protein includes legumes, nuts, tofu, seeds, fish, seafood, poultry, and red meat. Other protein foods include cheese, kefir, and fat yogurts. Protein keeps your bones strong like calcium and helps you repair your muscles after an intense workout. When it comes to something to drink, you should aim for water. And I'm going to just note, my primary drink is water. The only other thing I may drink, I do drink daily, is coconut milk, and I have that as an evening, included in my evening snack at the end of my days of being alert, before I totally relax. I have a snack with coconut milk included. But water is the thing that I drink pretty much all day. And when I go out to restaurants, I might have a shake, a smoothie, or some form of a soft drink. But I don't buy those products and pack them in my refrigerator. I buy my daughter juice. I don't even drink that juice. And it's 100% juice, not concentrate, and no unnatural added sugars. Water is the main course for what our body intake is, as we are 80% water. Juices and other drinks such as coffee, which I definitely don't do, fruit juice, and soft drinks have no nutritional value and are often loaded with sugar, which will leave you feeling burnt out sooner than later. And let me tell a side story, because when I was young, my primary sport was baseball. And this is when Gatorade started to become really popular, and the parents used to bring waters and Gatorades and sodas, sodas, soft drinks, and all that. And most of us kids would go for the sodas and soft drinks, but I became more aware, but it began mostly in those time periods where I would drink this Gatorade, go back out on the field, and like an inning and a half later, I was extremely dehydrated. You know what I'm saying? And the older I got, I'm like, yo, it's the sugar that's added, the unnatural sugars that's added into these sports or soft drinks that's dehydrating me and drying me out. You know what I'm saying? Because after I drink one of those drinks and then go exercise or play or whatever for X amount of time after the fact, then I find myself having to darn near drink like a gallon of water just to feel hydrated and refreshed. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I definitely know all of this as fact in dealing with it myself from an earliest of age. And then being within the culinary or the food service profession for so long. Vitamins and minerals are also needed in your diet, as they give your brain an extra boost and also help you think clearly. There are two types of vitamins: water soluble and fat soluble. You must be more careful about the fat soluble vitamins over the water ones, because fat stays in your body longer, whereas water is more disposable, easier to digest in and out of the body fluently and naturally, instead of uncomfortably. Fat-soluble vitamins are stored in the body's cells, and if you take too much, it could become toxic to your health. The water-soluble vitamins include vitamin B1, thiamine. It is important for nerve function and brain stimulation. Vitamin B1 is found in pork, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds. Vitamin B2, riboflavin. It is needed to help balance the metabolism, increase vision health, and skin health. Riboflavin can be found in foods such as milk and milk products, leafy greens like lettuce, and whole grain cereals and breads. Vitamin B3, niacin. This vitamin balances metabolism and is important for the nervous system, digestive tract, and skin health. You may find this vitamin in meat, poultry, fish, whole grain breads, vegetables like mushrooms and asparagus, and peanut butter. Folic acid. Oh, don't even get me into folic acid. I have a serious story about my knowledge into folic acids, but I'm not going to cover that right now. I did in another episode a while back ago. Essential for producing new cells and DNA and increasing the red blood cells. You can find folic acid in foods such as leafy greens, legumes, seeds, orange juice, and liver. Vitamin B12, cobalamin, important for nerve function and increasing the health of your limbic system. Vitamin B12 can be found in meat, poultry, fish, seafood, eggs, milk, and milk products. Vitamin C, ascorbic acid. It is an antioxidant essential for the immune system, health and absorbs iron. Vitamin C can be found in all fruits and vegetables, high in citrus, including strawberries, oranges, cantaloupe, cabbage, peppers, tomatoes, lettuce, papayas, mangoes, and kiwi. Fat-soluble vitamins include vitamin A is needed for vision, skin health, bones, and teeth growth, and immune system functionality. You can find vitamin A in fortified milk, cheese, cream, butter, eggs, liver, leafy dark green vegetables, and dark fruits. And I meant to say vegetables, because vegetables is just the lazy way of saying that word, so pardon me. Vegetables, like I know better. These fruits are apricots, cantaloupe, and apples. As far as dark fruits, that's what they was referencing when I said dark fruits. These fruits are apricots, cantaloupe, and apples. Vitamin D. It may be difficult to get enough vitamin D in your diet. So, if this is the case, try finding a multivitamin supplement with vitamin D in it, or just a vitamin D supplement on its own. It helps absorb calcium stored in bones and increases your mood. You can find vitamin D in egg yolks, liver, fatty fish. When you are exposed to the sun, you are also getting your daily dose of vitamin D. Vitamin E. This vitamin is an antioxidant that protects cell walls. You can find it in plant oils such as soybean, corn, cottonseed, and safflower. It is also found in leafy green vegetables, wheat germ, whole grains, liver, egg yolks, nuts, and seeds. Vitamin K. This is needed for proper blood clotting. Vitamin K. This is needed for proper blood clotting purposes. It can be found in leafy vegetables such as kale, collard greens, and spinach. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and asparagus also have high levels of vitamin K. And Brussels sprouts used to be one of my disliked vegetables of all time. It is in my top 5, as well as asparagus. And I like to have them roasted as opposed to steamed. I'd rather roast these vegetables as opposed to steam them, except for broccoli. Broccoli's real thick, and I would like to have that steamed, preferably, you know what I'm saying, and not steamed to the point of being overly cooked or done, but still have a sustainable or substantial crunch to it. There are 2 food groups of minerals that are important for proper body functioning. One group is called major or macro minerals and are needed in larger amounts than the other group, which are called trace minerals. Macro minerals are sodium. Sodium is needed for fluid balance, nerve transmission, and muscle contraction. I wanted to make sure I had that word right. Muscle contraction. You can find salt in table salt, soy sauce, processed foods, milk, bread, vegetables, and unprocessed meats. Chloride, needed to develop healthy stomach acid and balance fluids and can be found in everything that includes high sodium foods. Potassium, needed for fluid balance, muscle contraction, and nerve transmission, and can be found in meat, milk, fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and legumes. Calcium. Calcium is crucial for healthy bones and teeth, healthy relaxation of muscles, blood clotting, and regulation, and boosts immunity. It can be found in milk, canned fish, broccoli, and legumes. Magnesium. Magnesium boosts immunity and is needed for making protein. You can find magnesium in nuts, seeds, leguminous, leafy greens, vegetables, seafood, chocolate, and water. Trace minerals include iron. Iron is found in the molecule of red blood cells responsible for carrying oxygen in the body. Iron also balances metabolism and can be found in red meat, fish, poultry, seafood, egg yolks, dried fruit, dark leafy greens, and fortified cereals. Selenium is a strong antioxidant that helps the body fight off bad bacteria. It is found in foods such as meat, seafood, and grain. Copper is needed for iron metabolism. Copper can be found in legumes, nuts, whole grains, organ meat, and water. Zinc is an important mineral needed for making protein, heals wounds, boosts fetal development, produces sperm, and boosts immunity. Can be found in foods such as meats, poultry, leavened whole grains, and vegetables. Chromium is linked with insulin and helps regulate blood sugar levels. It can be found in liver, brewer's yeast, whole grains, nuts, and cheese. A word of caution: any excess in vitamins or minerals can also have detrimental effects on your body, so you should do your research and talk to a doctor before deciding to take any supplements. Always be honest about your problems when talking to your doctor. That way you can ensure that you get the recommendation which is best suited for you. Vitamin and mineral supplements should never replace an actual food diet. And I was going to state that ad-libbing before I decided to read on. Like, don't think that these replacements are the end all to be all, the end all to be all of most natural intake and comfortability. As far as, your body processing that ingestion and going through the digestive phase properly. That's what I was trying to think of, was the digestive system. Because you take the wrong things too much, and then it could create some kind of irregularity within your digestive tract. Vitamin and mineral supplements should never replace an actual food diet. The people who most need a vitamin supplement are those who are pregnant or breastfeeding, having a drug or alcohol problem, and the elderly. Remember, vitamins are not to be taken without the advice of a doctor or dietitian, as they are compounds that are consumed by the body in small amounts for numerous metabolic process. And I'm going to read all that over again so we're not confused into our information. Vitamin and mineral supplements should never replace an actual food diet. The people who most need a vitamin supplement are those who are pregnant or breastfeeding, have a drug or alcohol problem, and the elderly. Remember, vitamins are not to be taken without the advice of a doctor or dietitian, as they are compounds that are consumed by the body in small amounts for numerous metabolic processes. And that is the end of our reading experience in this chapter. When we go to our next chapter, it'll be chapter 7, break the third chain, which is minimize your surroundings. And it's kind of wild because I was talking to my cousin about all of these things in regards to her situation. And that's what makes me ad-lib a lot, is because I have these conversations with other people. I don't just read this to an audience that I'm most unfamiliar with personally. Like, I share these things that I know with the people closest to me. You know what I'm saying? And then I give it to all of you as well. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I was telling my cousin about, dieting and, natural foods and, these drinks and these sugars and all this lazy ways of ingestion. And I wasn't going to itemize through their habits, but I'm like, yo, if you are drinking a lot of sodas, or, you're not label watching with these juices and, eating out a lot at all of these fast food chains and restaurants where these soft drinks are just so infused with these unnatural high levels of sugar and fructose. You know what I'm saying? Or they use corn syrup. But, really watch what you put into your body. You know what I'm saying? And really watch how you think more than anything. Because, how you think and the stress, the level of stress that you choose to hold on to can forward into your physical state of, how you move and how comfortable you are in being, depending on, your level of stress and whether you're able to process things maturely and more comfortably, as opposed to highly anxious and being very immature and negligent. But on that note, I'm going to state again, this is your neighborhood Sensei Fouché, and I hope that all of you have had or continuing to have a wonderful day. And if not, you should really think about how you think. You know what I'm saying? I always first strongly suggest, and I also end my shows by strongly suggesting first before emphatically imploring for all of you beautiful, wonderful, self-loving, and worthy people to stay woke. But in the process, never get all stressed out. Make sure you take all necessary meditative practices and procedures, including environmental change, when and if necessary, to relax. And always, 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 always be prepared to take those notes. Be smooth in unity. One.